Jordan Spieth's name appearing in another signature event field isn't unusual anymore, but the conversation surrounding it continues to grow louder. This time, the three-time major champion has received a sponsor exemption into the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill, a move that once again highlights the unique space he occupies in the modern PGA Tour landscape. Because while sponsor invitations are nothing new, they tend to spark debate when they involve players trying to regain form while others are fighting for their place through rankings and results. And Spieth, given his stature and recent struggles, finds himself right at the center of that discussion. The exemption itself isn't controversial from a rules standpoint. Tournament organizers have the flexibility to invite players who they believe add competitive value and fan interest. And Spieth, as one of the most recognizable names in the sport, naturally brings both. But the broader conversation isn't about whether he's allowed to be there. It's about what these invitations represent in a tour that's increasingly defined by limited fields, high purses, and a growing emphasis on performance-based access. And if you enjoy golf analysis that looks beyond the headlines and dives into the bigger picture shaping the sport, consider subscribing to Daily Golf News so you don't miss the next breakdown. Spieth himself has addressed the criticism, pointing out that the decision ultimately lies with tournament organizers, and that any player would accept the opportunity to compete at the highest level when offered. That perspective reflects a reality of professional golf where reputation, marketability, and competitive history all play a role alongside rankings and recent results. At the same time, the debate highlights a deeper tension within the tour. As events become more exclusive, every spot carries more weight, and questions about fairness naturally surface when invitations come into play. From a competitive standpoint, the Arnold Palmer Invitational now gains a player capable of delivering compelling moments if his game clicks. But from a structural standpoint, the conversation about access and opportunity remains just as relevant. And that's what makes this storyline interesting. It's not simply about Spieth receiving another start. It's about how professional golf balances tradition, star power, and meritocracy in an evolving competitive landscape. As Bay Hill approaches, the focus will inevitably shift back to performance, how Spieth plays, whether he can build momentum, and how he fits into a field filled with elite competition. Because ultimately, once the first tee shot is struck, the narrative always comes back to the same place, results. So the real question isn't whether Spieth should be there. It's what he does with the opportunity. Do you see sponsor exemptions as a natural part of the sports ecosystem, or do you think the tour should lean more heavily on performance-based qualification? Drop your take below, I'd love to hear how you see it. And if you want more fan-driven golf analysis and context around the biggest conversations in the game, don't forget to follow Daily Golf News. See you in the next update.